On his first day at school, the boy was bullied by the class thug. When Frank walked into the classroom, the bully mocked his outfit, saying he looked like a substitute teacher. At that moment, a bold idea popped into Frank's mind. He elegantly picked up a piece of chalk and confidently wrote his name on the blackboard. This unexpected move stunned the entire class. He then dragged the bully up to the front and forced him to read the lesson out loud. Even more surprisingly, he managed to trick the real substitute teacher into leaving. By the time the school realized what had happened, he had already taught French classes for 2 whole weeks, hosted a parent-teacher meeting, and was even planning a field trip for the entire class. His mother was exasperated, but his father, instead of scolding him, showed a satisfied smile. His son's incredible talent for deception was clearly inherited from him. On Frank's 16th birthday, his father gave him a special gift, a bank account with a checkbook. From that moment on, Frank's life would be inseparable from checks. However, the next day, when he came home early from school, he caught a strange man leaving his mother's room. Even though his mother tried hard to explain that they were just talking business, he knew the truth. He thought that as long as he kept the secret, everything would be fine. But shortly after, his mother still filed for divorce. Unable to accept his parents' separation, he chose to run away from home, using a check to buy a bus ticket to New York City. However, without a job, he quickly ran out of money and was kicked out of the hotel by the manager. Desperate and with nowhere to turn, he suddenly remembered the blank checks. He carefully altered the date on one and then pasted someone else's name on it. But such obvious alterations were often easily spotted by others. Just as he was repeatedly failing to modify the checks, a pilot surrounded by flight attendants caught his attention. So he first pretended to be a campus reporter and gathered various information about the pilot from the airline. He even accidentally obtained an about-to-expire pilot's license. Using this, he called the company and ordered a uniform, transforming himself into a young and promising pilot. This outfit allowed him to breeze through the bank without any obstacles. Plus, his young and handsome appearance captured the heart of the female bank employee. From her, he learned about the anti-counterfeiting technology used in checks. A few weeks later, at an auction, Frank bought a check printing machine specifically designed for banks. He perfectly printed the bank check codes, then took the logo from a model plane and affixed it to the check. Finally, he used a book to flatten the check, creating a near-perfect counterfeit of an airline company check. To avoid any issues with mass-producing checks, Frank used his pilot identity to hitch free rides on planes, traveling across the country to carry out his scams. In just a few short months, he had defrauded over $1 million, eventually attracting the attention of the FBI. Soon, Agent Carl tracked him down to a hotel based on his spending records. But he didn't know what Frank looked like. The room was filled with tools for forging checks, and the sound of a toilet flushing could be heard from the bathroom. However, Frank appeared completely calm. He proceeded to introduce Carl to the various counterfeiting tools, claiming that he was also a police officer. When Carl asked to see his credentials, Frank instinctively handed over his wallet. As Carl was about to open the wallet, Frank quickly pointed out the window, claiming that his partner and the arrested suspect were right there. To completely dispel Carl's suspicions, Frank even waved at them. In reality, those two were just his next-door neighbors. Having successfully fooled Carl, Frank stated that he needed to take the evidence downstairs and that Carl should protect the scene in the meantime. After Frank left, Carl grew increasingly uneasy. He hurriedly opened the wallet to check, only to find that it was full of paper used for counterfeiting. By then, our genius teenager had already vanished.